Acolytes, card job loses against Billy Mitchell. I heard of it, but I just couldn't believe it. After I heard it, I was, I think, baffled. This surprises me. And I'm doing specifically Omegon, because at this time Cardrops actually didn't answer in a video. So there's that. But for F's sake, how? Let's just see what Omegon, for F's sake, Omegon has to say about it, because this man actually researches his stuff. So there's that. I am freaking surprised. In shock. I am in shock, Acolytes. Pure freaking shock.
Isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the recent announcement concerning Billy Mitchell and Carl.
Okay, give me a second. Look at the background, Acolytes. If you're hearing this at work, I know what this one little green thing is on the left, don't know. But the lol cow with Billy Mitchell's face is just beautiful. And red hat in a cage. A very, very small red hat in a cage. Beautiful. Beautiful.
For quite a while now, Carl Jobst have been fighting a legal battle against the
Yes.
American Gamer over a number of accusations. Now, one of them wasn't one that many were talking about, because in Carl's videos, and I do apologise if this seems a bit harsh, the majority seem to focus on something else, which is where many of us thought the legal battle resided. And that's understandable to not have all the information to hand, especially when you're fighting a legal battle, obviously. But we did have to wait until the conclusion of this so we could then speak on it.
And let's be honest. Normally, if you're fighting a legal battle, you're not doing YouTube videos about it. Let's just be fair about this. And by the way, I just want to make this very clear. I wanted Carl Jobst to win. I really wanted it. And I still want it. For some reason. Even though he already lost. But I still cannot believe it.
I have a number of tweets and an article to look at. Now, the article has a bit more context provided with the judge's comments. Instead, we're going to start with tweets, because that seems actually appropriate to get words from the horse's mouths, as it were.
You're correct.
Billy Mitchell had tweeted, "Nothing like the smell of victory in the evening air. I wonder how this all went then? You have my attention." Many people replied, "Well done," essentially, right? Beating cancel culture, fine. Others saying, "Undeniable proof Billy has never lied a day in his life." The lawsuit didn't really focus on the world record stuff that many people have pointed out, because he did have his world records removed by Twin Galaxies and the Guinness Book of Records. He then lawsuited the crap out of Twin Galaxies, who then decided, because they couldn't afford it anymore, just to give him back his world records.
Yeah, and the thing is, he did those things. He was proven a cheater. I just don't understand how he lost this. The proof is so obvious. The judge was probably a really, really old man that didn't know shit.
Even though he had used an emulated... Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to bother getting into that. The controller thing as well.
Yeah.
It was questionable. So moving on from Billy's tweet, Yeet had tweeted, "Carl Jobst has lost his defamation case against Billy Mitchell for failing to retract a statement connecting Mitchell to Apollo Legends Unalive." Now that's the part I wasn't as clued up on, because I genuinely thought, like many in fact, this was about the cheating allegations.
I'm going to be honest. This thing with the Apollo, he mentioned it definitively, or I at least remember him mentioning it. But the entire thing was around the cheating allegations. Yeah, I mean, every single video, as he presented it, was about the cheating allegations. There was barely any mentions about the Apollo situation.
So Carl, I lost. The judge found Billy to be a credible witness and believed his entire testimony. From that point on, Unfortunately, there was really nothing that could have saved me. I will now obviously consider my options. I know many of you will be upset with this, and I'm sorry for that. Thank you again for all the support I have received, and I will endeavour to work as hard as I can to repay all that you are owed. Underneath is a rated privacy note. We're going to leave it there, but we're going to go to some of the comments. What is Billy going to do with all that money? To all the people who say you felt misled, did you follow the trial at all? He never claimed it was about Billy cheating in video games. It was always about the Apollo Legends stuff. I still think the judgment was awful and Carl shouldn't have lost. But no one misled you. So that's an interesting point, and this is where my fault comes into it, because I only had the videos to go on from all that time ago, and scratch.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm gonna be honest, yes, I will agree that maybe some freaking obscure judgment statements should have been done, but if you're posting this stuff on YouTube and you're not making very clear what this is about, a lot of people will interpret it wrongly. And I think that over 95% of people actually understood the situation in a way where Carl Jobs meant that it was about the cheating allegations.
Catching up my memory to the minimal views I got covering the subject, my only gripe was always about the cheating. It didn't occur to me that the lawsuit would be about something vastly more dark. Repsion, maybe don't imply somebody can cause somebody else to unalive themselves. Seems like you put yourself in this situation yourself. That is a damning statement, and a valid one at that. We all have to, as creators, be very careful what we say. It's why many people, to this day, still accuse Keemstar of saying certain things and causing somebody to do something to themselves like this, unalive that is. Some people can be sued for that, and we have to be very careful. Carl later tweeted, "There are a lot of lies being spread that I falsely claimed Billy sued me because I said he cheated. I never claimed this. I only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense." No offense, but that seems like semantics, because then you'd have to say you did in fact claim he cheated because you did use it in your videos.
Correctly,
the controller
yes.
thing, how many directions it could move, the emulated aspect as well. I remember this vaguely because I remember seeing it in your videos. So people are going to run with that because it was a part of your argument.
Yes.
Therefore, you can say you never claimed it, but did. In fact, you contradict it in the second part of that sentence. I didn't openly discuss certain details for obvious reasons, but I was never trying to hide why I was being sued. I included a link to a video, thumbnail for which is on the screen now. This is a bit baity, don't you think? In this video, I fully allow Billy to explain why he was suing me, and I specifically state that I chose not to go into too much detail because it related to the ongoing lawsuit. Furthermore, I never asked for money when Billy originally sued me. It was only after he sent me a second lawsuit and a threat of a third lawsuit, which were completely unrelated, that I needed to crowdfund. My total legal costs are well over $600,000, so any money I received went to my lawyers. I did not intentionally try to deceive anyone or trick anyone just to...
I believe him, actually. I believe him that he didn't try to intentionally do it. On the other hand, as shitty as it sounds, he's friends with Dark Viper. And if you don't know Dark Viper, just don't know him, but know or look it up by yourself. But I had to deal with him, or I chose to deal with him and his community on my very, very early days on YouTube, just to know how it is if you go actually against a very toxic community or a creator that, well, isn't the most reasonable. Let's just say it like that. And Dark Viper actually has he claimed that he has a mental illness. So there's that.
Defraud them or scam them out of money. But the criticism I should have been more transparent is valid, and I'm sorry. Truthfully, I didn't want to repeat or mention any claims regarding Apollo Legend because it may have jeopardized my defense. I never intentionally lied regarding Apollo Legend either. I relied on incorrect information from multiple sources. I retracted the statements once I confirmed it was inaccurate, but apparently it was not sufficient. At some point, of course, I will produce a video discussing everything, and I still believe the decision today was not the correct one. Replies. The problem is the word cheater or cheating, other way round, was mentioned in pretty much every video and on your funding page. I checked the video and it was mentioned Apollo was part of the lawsuit, but I never saw that video, and many other people either didn't as well or failed to pick up on a point that was basically otherwise not mentioned elsewhere. Cheating was also brought up in that video. Also, people knew there were other lawsuits he threatened, but he didn't follow through with. How do you expect so many people to know one of them wasn't the Apollo claims? I get it's your life, and you know all these details, but it's very difficult for people not related or affected by this case to know this. Many big YouTubers who cover this kind of stuff didn't even know everything, and thought it was about cheating as well. Do I count as big when I have 100,000? Does that count? I mean, I'm still quite small. It's understandable why so many people thought this lawsuit was about cheating, and why so many people were confused when they heard you lost. So while you didn't lie, the whole thing about not wanting to generally talk about mention the Apollo claims is what caused people to feel misled, even if unintentionally. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a very measured way of addressing the tweet in question. In a lot of the videos that Carl did, the word cheater came up, so people latched onto that.
Fair enough.
I'm hardly innocent in this, and you've admitted in this tweet there is much you didn't include because you couldn't. This is where it gets into very sort of murky territory of what you can and cannot share and how we can and cannot interpret it. We go on what is given and presented. So if you present something with faulty information, as you yourself admit and removed or addressed, it doesn't matter because the damage is done. And that, I guess, gave Billy every excuse possible to run with it. I was watching your tweets as this all unfolded, and I will admit I thought you were going to win based on cheating. I didn't remember the part about Apollo Legend. That was my fault. I'm willing to admit bias. Hearing this as a loss on April the 1st seems slightly strange because you expect it to be a joke, right? And then you see articles covering this and no, it's not. The final tweet from Carl. I removed my last video. Obviously people are upset, so it is better I address the concerns of the public first and make a video explaining everything before releasing future videos. I would just ask you to wait for my video before making a full judgment. I'm sorry for releasing the video today. It was due to a sponsor obligation, but that's far less important than addressing your concerns. That is 100% understandable and or reasonable. Annoyingly, we as creators, if we have sponsors, we have to uphold that contract. I don't have any though. I'm very sad about that. Mostly because
if you have contract, you have to uphold it, but the thing is, that's why I will avoid contracts like that as far as I effing can. Because I just don't want to be forced to do things.
I only ever get spam one. Yeah, tragic. In the case of this, yes, optics aren't on your side. And if anything, it opens you up to more criticism from perpetually black-pilled boomer internet. I'm one of them, I will admit. There is criticism here, but only because of a misunderstanding on my part. Now, somebody did in the tweet replies underneath include a 118-page judgment on this whole case. And I'm kind of intrigued by this because I didn't know that we could get our hands on this PDF. It caught my attention, I guess. And I thought what I'd do is I'd read from this on the first page anyway, before we go to the judge's comments from an article. Orders. 1. Judgment for the plaintiff. A. For damages for non-economic loss in the sum of $300,000, plus interest of $34,668.50, subject to either party seeking a different order as to interest upon delivery of this judgment, or by filing and serving a written submission within 14 days. And B. For aggravated damages in the sum of $50,000, plus interest of $5,778.08. 2. Unless either party seeks a different order as to costs, either upon delivery of this judgment or by filing and serving a written submission within 14 days, the defendant pay the plaintiff's costs of the proceeding. It mentions catchwords here. I don't care about that. But this is the judgment against Carl Jobst.
That's expensive. Oof! And that's why you never go in a freaking case if you're not 100% sure you're gonna win. Well, you can never be 100% sure you're gonna win, but... Oh, freak.
He has to pay closer to $390,000 when you include legal costs as well, potentially more towards Billy if this goes any further. If Carl decides to appeal or not, of course, that might be extended, but I know that the Australian system is a bit strange. Much like the UK system, Australia likes to humiliate its own people from time to time, so we'll hold on to this for the time being and not draw too much or judge too harshly. I did notice, by the way, when Carl had tweeted I removed my last video, that a tweet that caught my interest was, removed for violating X's rules. The tweet in question came from Playtime. You deserve this, Carl. Hope your family suffers.
Oh, come. Okay.
I'm just going to say, I wouldn't wish ill on anyone. I don't wish ill on Billy, by the way. I still think he's a cheater when it comes to video games. A hack, a fraud, blah. Yet the usual standard stuff associated with a guy who did, and had to bitch move his way to keeping his records. But that's what I expect from an American, right? No offense to those who are American, but you guys in lawsuits are just synonymous with everything being offensive in the land of the free. Somewhat.
He's correct, yes. But still, hey, say that Carl deserves it, fair enough, but don't push his family into it. That's how I see it.
Ironically. Now, when I go to an article from The Guardian, we go to a few comments from the judge, Ken Barlow, not to be associated with a character from Coronation Street. He found that Carl had made 5 defamatory imputations about Billy Mitchell, including that Billy Mitchell had required Apollo Legend pay him a large sum of money, and implying in essence he hounded Apollo Legend to death. The judge found this was based on a fallacy, and that Jobst, in not making further inquiries before publishing video, had been recklessly indifferent to if it was true. If this is the case, there's a certain level of irony to this, because I'd only heard of Carl because of him attacking others who had done something similar, who had not done their due diligence as well.
Correctly.
Like Completionist, I believe, was one, wasn't it? Was
Yep.
that him? Was it Mama Max? Might have been.
Oh, the completionist smiles. Oh, the completionist is so happy. This just opened him so much leeway. Oh, freak. This guy is just having a freaking orgasm right now. Damn.
Both. You know what I mean, right? Could be Dark Viper these days, who knows? Dark Viper says some dumb crap. Jobst had denied the imputations had been made in the video, arguing that Mitchell had a pre-existing bad reputation because he had previously been exposed as a cheat. Now, the judge did agree Billy had an existing reputation as a cheat and for suing people who alleged he was a cheat, and found that Mitchell had expressed joy when he believed, on an earlier occasion, that Apollo Legend may have died. Incorrectly, that should be noted, is on the screen there. Yeah. But the judge also found that Carl had severely damaged Billy's reputation and caused distress. He described Carl as having a self-aggrandizing and perhaps self-protective tendency not to admit error and not back down once he had taken a stance. He had framed Carl's actions as a crusade against Billy Mitchell, stating he was trying to show his audience that he is the knight who slew the Mitchell dragon. The judgment summary noted that the court was not called on to decide and did not decide if Mitchell had cheated in his world record scores. Not relevant, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. He did, but who cares really at this point? In the grand scheme of what happens next, we have to wait on Carl first, whether he wants to appeal this if he can, or whether he's going to have to take the L and rebuild as best he can. That is a huge amount of money he has to pay. And I do feel bad for him in that respect. When you screw up on this scale, the consequences are usually quite big. Whether it was rightly or unjust, I cannot possibly say. It is not my place to. We have to wait for all the information to be available, and we do have 118 pages I can read later. So it's always possible I can perhaps make a short on it, because that needs condensing. It really does. I won't deny, and I'll state it again, part of me misunderstood this entire case from the offset.
Yes.
I had forgotten about Apollo Legend. No offence intended, I had thought it was about the gaming and the cheating, which, in my videos that I covered, became the fundamental basis of many of my points. Also because I thought it was funny to defend so vehemently.
Same here. Same here.
Against others especially, because you don't want to be called a cheater. Okay. Thankfully, I had never up to this point, up to the point of the first video anyway, heard of twin galaxies, so I had no reason to respect them, and I don't give a crap about the Guinness Book of Records anyway. With what we now know, I would love to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, I'll be streaming on Twitch tonight, some Star Trucker. It would be Euro or American truck, but I can't guarantee my steering wheel will work, because it's being a bastard. I know. Hope to see you there. If not, have a wonderful day, and thank you all very much for listening. Donkey Kong shit, by the way.
Damn, I am so freaking disappointed. But is the judge correct? I don't think so. Or let's just say it like this. I think that this is a situation where the bad guy, the guy that wronged a lot of people, won on a technicality. Because this is just disgusting. There isn't any world where this is actually a positive outcome. I mean, the one thing I would agree, yes, Carl Jobs actually slandered Billy to a very high degree. And that's, by the way, why you don't make YouTube videos on a constant. Because, well, other people might just, well, have the wrong impression about it. Simple as that. Damn, but I am just so freaking disappointed, Acolytes. But okay, as it is, Acolytes, good night.